Hello, and a very warm welcome to Kitabe Club Live. Today we have with us author Ekta Rupani for her book Solo. So let's add our author for today. All right. So in the meantime, our author joins us. I'll tell you who Ekta Rupani is. So Ekta Rupani is a published writer, image consultant, and an amateur singer. Hello, Ekta ma'am.
Hi, Neha. Am I visible properly to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Am I audible?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So a very warm welcome to Kitabe Club.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here today.
So I was just telling our viewers that who Ekta Rupani is. So she's a published writer, an image consultant, and an amateur singer. I don't think so. You're an amateur singer, and
I
we would
absolutely
like
am.
you to speak for us.
No. That is as you said, it's in that sequence, where I've written singer last. So that's what I am, an amateur singer. Absolutely.
So her works have been published in Femina, and her short stories have been published in Chicken Soup for the Soul. So that must be amazing. I would like to know more about that. Certainly.
Okay. Do you want me to answer it now?
Sure, why not? Please go ahead.
Okay. So this was quite a few years ago, and say probably 8 to 9 years ago, that I had sent my stories to Chicken Soup for the Soul. It was the Indian adaptation of Indian version, in fact, and
Mhm.
not one but two books accepted my stories. So it was a great sense of validation for me because I felt that this was something I had loved to read, and such a well-known series that it really gave me immense pleasure that they accepted. That was like some validation. I remember being very, very happy about it.
Wow.
Yes.
So, was that the start of your journey as an author?
Author, I mean, if you say writer, then I've been writing since my school days. So
Wow.
although I hadn't really published anything much till maybe as Chicken Soup or Femina also happened.
Mhm.
In 2013, they had a crowdsourced issue. They had come out with a crowdsourced issue where they wanted the crowd people to send in their articles, and they shortlisted people who they wanted should write for that particular magazine. So yes, that was one thing. But I had started writing very young. I was in school when I used to write poetry, in class three maybe. And I used to recite poetry to my classmates. And, when I went to college, then it started getting published in the college magazine as well. So that journey has been quite long. But then as an author, definitely it's been a couple of years that I have written for quite a few anthologies
Mhm.
for Right Fluence, the Right Order. Wherever I came up with an opportunity to write, I just get tempted, and I just want to go write something. So that happened, and then Chicken Soup happened, Femina happened, a few contests by Tumbi happened. And then I wrote my book called Shades of Pink, which was not published, but I just printed copies and distributed amongst family and friends. Then Amma happened in the year 2019, Amma and Other Stories, which was a compilation of short stories. Through Crossword, I published that. And then, of course, now it's solo.
Yeah. So, talking about solo, so what was the inspiration behind penning down solo?
So this was the pandemic. And as we all know, we were all stuck at home and there was nowhere that we could go and things like that. So when I tested positive for COVID, I joined an online writing workshop
Mm.
through the Himalayan Writing Retreat that was hosted by
Okay.
them. And they were like, telling us to come up with some idea for a novel. And I had a couple of ideas in mind, but I think mainly also because we were so badly restricted to our homes that the idea of a travel novel fiction somehow quite appealed to me. And then I thought that not just travel, but let me let me get it from the viewpoint, let me think from the viewpoint of a person who's traveling solo. And what would her experiences be, and what challenges she may face, and what sense of liberation she's going to feel, and all of that. So that's when the idea emerged in my mind, and the rest, of course, as they say, is history.
Yeah. So, talking about the book, so the protagonist Shreya, she appears to be a very simple girl, yet she has a very unique personality. So, what was the inspiration behind her character? I mean, she has a lot of shades to her character.
Absolutely. So what I'd like to say here is that there are certain things that are not really planned. So when an artist starts painting, she doesn't even, or she or he doesn't know what the final outcome will be. Just when during the process of painting, one feels that one should put a red bindi, or for the person. So it was just like a painting, where I as I kept writing, as I kept developing her character, these shades kept getting added. Like, she meets a lot of people
Yeah,
throughout her journey, and then that how that changes her perspective, how her reactions are to those people. I mean, kind of that kind of shaped her character and kind of brought it out in its entirety through the novel. So that's what it was. I mean, there was no plan. There was no plan A or plan B. I just had a very sketchy image of her in mind when I started writing. But as I went along, she started growing
yeah.
with me, or within me, I should say.
So, is there a little bit of Ekta in Shreya?
So that, as I said, is the uh, most cliche, should I say, or the most commonly asked question. And so it's not autobiographical for sure,
Hmm.
but as I said, we belong to the same age group, right? The same, probably the social circle. So those things were relatable. I could write about them because I had experienced those things. Also, where I've written that she tries to blend or find a balance between modernity and tradition, there it
Right.
I would resonate with that. Or maybe that keeping her own needs and that of others in mind at the same time. To that extent, I would say yes, that we would be similar people, but there are so many other things and so many choices and so many things that she does which probably it's not me. So to that extent,
Yeah.
yes, and then not all of it though.
Okay, so you write a lot about women characters or women. So,
Yes.
like, what's the reason behind writing about such characters, or picking up picking up things which are very relatable to us women? So, how does that happen?
Yeah, so I've always maintained that I cannot think like a man. I can never think like a man. So it's all the way it's a woman's perspective. And these are things I feel rather strongly about. And so it's always like then it just comes to me naturally that when I sit down to write, uh, the first thought is like the protagonist is generally a woman. So like as I said, I cannot think like a man, so I don't know how a man would react to. Although I'm surrounded by men, I have my husband, father-in-law, and my grown-up boys, two sons. So yes, a lot of men at home, my brother. But at the same time, I can write more comfortably from a woman's perspective.
Great. Uh, so, like, you have written about a lot of places where Shreya travels to, and they are very varied places. So, what kind of research went into? Because you have actually picked up, the very important parts of those places, like whatever is very particular to those places, and you have incorporated it in the story. So, what kind of research went into it?
So there was a lot of research actually that went into, uh, you know, writing about these places. A couple of them I have myself visited,
Okay.
like the music fest at Merangar Fort is
Mhm.
something I have visited, I have done, I've experienced. Then Ananda, the spa resort I have been to, Kashmir I have been to. Yet, and some of the places like Kasol and Andamans are places I haven't visited. But even if I had visited them, there was so much that I didn't really know. Like in terms of even something like just the Mehrangarh Fort, there was so much research into the different rooms within the fort, or the history,
Right.
of things, yeah, like, or the folklore that was there, so it used to just be like 3-4 hours of research, and then when I brought it down to writing, it used to be merely 3 lines probably.
Yeah.
It was that, I mean, finally. And even to kind of figure how she would be traveling from one place to another, because it's almost, she traverses the west, east, north, and south of the country.
Correct.
So how is she going to, how to connect those places, and what are the connections that are there, and can it be accessed by road or by flight or by train? So yes, although it's a fictional novel, but there was a lot of fact in it which had to be researched.
Great. When I was reading the book, I thought that the book would actually end, but I did not find it ending. Like there was a cliffhanger, and I was very curious as to what will Shreya do in such a situation. But you have not given an answer to that. So is there going to be a sequel?
So as I said, I am not sure about that yet. But so it is a cliffhanger, and yet it's not. So the
Right.
message, yeah, if you've read the book, so you would know that it's so the bottom line is self-love. The bottom line is happiness at any cost, within any situation. So that
Right.
is the message. That no matter what will Shreya do? What is her future? Is she going to do this or that? Maybe I do come up with a sequel, because a lot of people have asked me about it. So it's it's in a way a cliffhanger, and yet the underlying message is self-love.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, finding happiness only within oneself, and not holding the situation or other people responsible, or wanting them to create that those circumstances that you may be happy in.
So even if
That was
uh, Yeah, so even if the story ended at a cliffhanger and whatever decision Shreya takes, I think it's going to be a new beginning for her. So it's like there's a lot of possibility of a lot of
Yeah.
things happening now
So
in
what
her
do you
life because
suggest? Do you think there should be a sequel?
yeah, because even if there's a sequel, I think it's going to be a fresh start for Shreya. So that's how
Absolutely.
you've built her character, and it was so relatable because I think all the females go through those kinds of emotions and feelings that Shreya had, all those inhibitions, how she could leave apart everything and just be involved in the place, and which were very different from her regular lifestyle. So yeah, I
Absolutely,
think
absolutely. That there I have mentioned that, something like food, which she was always otherwise very careful about. She kept
yeah,
counting calories, the typical, quintessential Indian woman, I mean, modern city woman. But there she just lets go. She just feels, and that is just one part of, that feeling of liberation. She doesn't have to bother about the time of the day, right? Otherwise, we've all encased ourselves into, our schedules, into our timings, into people, into the things that we are supposed to do, or we are supposed to say or behave. And there she wanted, that's exactly what she didn't want. Like I have written that, she was always an important part of the puzzle, but now she wanted to be the entire picture. She did not want that, she was an essential part of the puzzle, which would not, without which the whole picture wasn't complete. But she just wanted to be the whole picture. She did not want, like even giving up the window seat. That's
yeah,
something mothers do, or if since she had her in-laws, maybe she must have done a lot of things, and there's no harm in that. But this was this point in life where she just wanted those few days only and only for herself. So that is where it came from.
true. So actually, you have captured those details so beautifully in the story, and very little details, very small details, which otherwise, we women don't even think of. Like just like
Correct.
you gave the example of giving up the window seat. We don't even think of those things otherwise. We are just
Happy to do
accustomed
those
to do it.
things. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. That was the whole contention, that and she's at that age where she's lived so many years, within in her family. She's has grown up kids. you know, she has in-laws, her husband. So, you know, life just falls into a routine without, as you're saying, even realizing that how
Yeah.
much of it is something you're doing for yourself and how much is it for everybody else. So this is
Yeah.
what I wanted to portray through the story, that even when she's asked that why does she want to travel solo and why not with anybody, so she just says that, you know, when I travel with others, I am a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter or a daughter-in-law, but I'm not
Right.
Shreya. Every decision that, you know, she finds liberating, that she can shop at her own pace, she can eat at her own pace, she can be where she wants, she can just watch the suns, you know, the sun setting on Merangat Fort, and that makes her so happy, because those are things she doesn't do in her, you know, daily, you know, routine.
True. So, coming to Ekta. So, what is Ekta writing these days?
Only, and I haven't gotten back honestly to writing much. Just a few short stories here and there I have written, but mostly it's been that, you know, this I'm still hungover on solo. So, so that is what, and a lot of opinions are coming in. I'm reading reviews about the book, and I'm just absorbing everything right now. So, not much of writing, just absorbing right now, just reveling in the in the whole thing that has happened, the book that has been released. You know.
Great. So, what does Ekta do in her free time?
Well, as I have mentioned everything possible in my profile, so I enjoy singing a lot as a hobby. So we have these small clubs where we sing on a regular basis. I'm a member of Khar Khana, where we have a monthly program where we sing along with the orchestra every month. So I do that. I am an image consultant, so I have my work to look after. I train people in corporates, at home, and in schools and colleges. I love to read and I love to write. And of course,
Great.
wonderful time socializing. I love to socialize and I have good amount of friends. Then there's a lot of family around. We all live very close by, so life's good.
And how do you manage all of this? I mean, I think this is a question that every female wants to answer. So, how do you make that balance?
Well, I know this is a question I was asked, that, you know, did you lock yourself in the room when you were writing? Or did you, you know, or did you just go away somewhere? But I did none of that. In fact, in the middle of paying my electricity bill and my milkman and Dhobi is the way I have written my book. So,
Wow.
yeah, so we had, but you know, during the day, like afternoons were pretty much to myself. So that was the time I would really tap into, you know, I get pour over my laptop and research for the book. I would be reading up, you know, about these places that I have mentioned.
Yeah.
So that those afternoons, like maybe, you know, 2:30 to about 5:30 was time to myself, and that's when most of the book was written. Yeah, with a lot of,
All
you
right.
know, being with a lot of, as I wouldn't say disturbance, but a part of my duty as a homemaker to, you know, pay my bills and check for if groceries are there or no, and all of those tiny little things that you have to do. So yeah.
Wow. So actually, that's very inspiring that, we don't need, seclusion, or we don't need to lock ourselves up to write, or, to pursue our
No,
hobby,
so there are a lot
but
of
it can
people
be
who
done.
must be, there must be people who must be doing that, or who had the, you know, who were able to do it within there. But within my circumstances, that was not possible. That, you know, just disappearing for a lot of time, couldn't do that. And so I thought, and I don't think that was like, once you're so passionate, or once you really want to do something, and you find your way around it.
Very true. So one last question, Ekta.
Yeah.
You said you love reading. You definitely read a lot. So recommend two books that you would
Okay.
like everyone to read.
That's a tough one because there are so many. But I have absolutely loved The Palace of Illusions by
Yeah.
Chitra Banerjee. I can't pronounce her last.
Yeah,
But
Banerjee Divakaruni.
yes, Divakaruni. So yes, I have absolutely loved that. Again, it's a very, very it's a it's the whole Mahabharat from the viewpoint of Draupadi.
Yeah,
And I just absolutely loved reading that book. I mean, it was so lovely, and the way she has described the whole thing, and the perspective of Draupadi, who was again a very, very strong woman.
right.
Um, Other than that, I would recommend even 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak, which I have mentioned in the book.
In the book.
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful book. It's an absolutely wonderful book that I absolutely enjoyed reading. Then, of course, there are these Thousand Splendid Suns that I've enjoyed and Kite Runner. But these two really stand out because I have thoroughly enjoyed reading them.
Wonderful.
What would be
So,
your favorite books? You tell me, Neha.
oh my God. So I am a totally thriller person. I read a
Okay,
lot of thrillers. So yeah.
okay. But which
So like,
ones?
so Alice Feeney is one of my favorite authors, and I love all her books.
Okay, lovely. That's wonderful.
So it was a wonderful conversation with Ekta Rupani, and I would recommend everybody to read Solo to understand what self-love is, how you can, how there can be a lot of self-introspection, how you can live your life, and it's a wonderful book.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha, for recommending. And really, guys, please read the book and leave your reviews on Amazon or Goodreads, wherever, because that really helps. I would strongly recommend women, especially. It's not chick lit. I would not say that men should not read it, but definitely, I think women would resonate with it a lot. So please, guys, read the book and review it, and otherwise send it to me on my personal DM and DM me the review or whatever. But please give me feedback on the book because I would really like to know what you think of it. And thank you so much, Neha, for this wonderful interview and this
Thank you
opportunity.
so much.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.